everybody, and welcome back to another episode with Phil and Marlena. We should really have like the Phil and Marlena show.
Yes, I feel like we need some intro music.
Yeah.
Like, dun, 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 something.
Well, in this episode today, we are talking about one of the most terrifying things ever. The job interview. Bum, bum, bum. How many job interviews have you done personally in your life?
Oh my gosh, way too many that I can't remember.
Do you remember your like scariest one, the one you were most nervous for?
Yes. Oh my gosh. My very first job interview, Phil, I was so terrified. I felt my armpits sweating. Everything on me just felt like it was just melting off my body. And then I had to remember, these are human beings. They have been here. But there was a few things that I didn't do. See, you learn some things over time. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yay.
What do you need to do for a job interview?
This is so important because we keep talking about this in kind of the educational series that we're doing in regards to jobs and employment and things like that. In that, a lot of times you're not really taught these things.
No.
You it's kind of assumed knowledge, and then one day you get a crack at your dream job, the job that you always wanted, or maybe it's the job that's a huge stepping stone into the career that you want to pursue. And now you've got to figure out how to do a job interview from scratch, and it's so high stakes, and you don't feel prepared. And so we're doing this video series to help you feel more prepared, so that when you do have that job interview that you want, or that job interview for the job of your dreams, you feel a little bit more secure in what you want to do. So enough of me yammering. Let's talk about the actual tips. Marlena, give us the first one.
Okay, the first one, think about what you're going to wear. All right. Now, although I know we ladies, we want to be super duper fly in our little Spanx and our leggings and all that other good stuff. No. The leggings with the suit jacket, although it's kind of cute. No. You want to be very conservative. No bright colors. Although I'm wearing my bright Hey Bay City shirt today.
I was just going to call you out for that one. Yeah.
Call me out. You know, I got to sport my swag today.
Yeah.
However, for a job interview, we don't want to do that. You want to be very conservative, darker colors, your grays, your blues, not even your browns or anything. And when I say blues, not the royal blue, you want to go like with your navies, because of the fact that you want the employer to see you. You don't want to be flashy. Not a lot of jewelry, although I love my bangles and everything else. You want to make sure that you're just simple, because you're going to interview for a job.
I love what you said about you wanting the focus to be on you, because up until that point I was kind of thinking, yeah, but there's kind of exceptions to this, and I don't know about the bright color, like what if you really look good in blue, like things like that. But I think your core point is really, you want it to be about you. If you walk into the room and for whatever reason somebody hates big earrings, or sequin pantsuit or whatever it is, that could cost you this job that you really, really want. And so I love the encouragement of you don't want to distract away from you. You want your answers to questions. You want your resume. You want the conversation, your personality to take center stage, not what you're wearing. Exactly.
We do need to be very mindful on how we're presenting ourselves, because you're presenting yourself to an employer you want to work for.
Yeah, I'll throw in a quick exception to that, a possible exception. So say that you read the job description and this employer, they are wild, they're out there, they're casual, they're creative, they're bold, they're funny, that personality is communicating itself. Yes. Now you could break this rule it's a tactical move by saying, hey, based on what the voice, the tone of your company in this position and what I've researched, this is exactly the kind of person that you're looking for. And now you've broken that rule in a really strategic way. And I think that could be something good to think about too.
And I'm glad you said that, Phil, because that segues into the next piece of that. This is where you do your research on the employer. So,
Yep.
of course, if you're applying for an office job, you need to be ultra conservative in some form or fashion. But if you're applying to be another beautician in a salon or you're in skilled trades, you adjust your attire according to the job. So you need to research prior to on that employer, what's the expectations, kind of look at now everything is electronic, so you should find videos of that employer.
Well,
So
I was just going to say a little cheat code would be to hop over to the employer's Facebook page and see what the other employers are wearing. Like what is their culture? Is everybody in a button-down shirt and a tie?
Or are they in Carhartt overalls?
Carhartt overalls, yep, exactly. And so doing the research, like here's kind of our base level encouragement, but then your research into the company should be the thing that informs that further.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's where it would not be a problem for you to wear those jeans and a button up. You can still kind of be that casual, but yet business according to that employer. So that's where your research comes in. Research who you're applying with. Research, what that culture is like. Because when you actually get that opportunity and you're scheduled for that interview, you want to express to that employer, guess what? I took the time to say, I care about your company. I really want to work for your company.
Yep.
And that's how you express that.
What's going to happen when you research the company that you're applying to is you're going to find some questions that you want to ask.
Yes.
You're going to see little gaps of information, or you're going to say, well, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? And that is something absolutely you need to come armed to this interview with, are questions that you want to ask the employer, because a good job interview, they're going to say, are there any questions for us? And if you say, nope, it sends
and they're going to say, nope.
Yeah, it sends a signal to them.
Yes, it does.
That you didn't really look at them as a company. You're not really interested. You're not really curious. Now, you might not have any questions. You got to think of some good ones.
Now, and with that, a rule of thumb that I always have, 2 to 3 questions. Because of the fact that you never want to go out, no, I don't have any questions, 2 to 3. And one of those 2 to 3 questions should not be, what exactly does this job pay? No. What does a typical day look like for the position you're hiring for? Maybe you can talk to someone that's in that department. Anything as far as, are there any skills that were not listed in the original job description? Anything like that.
You can even get really strategic in the question itself, that it's almost like you're not necessarily looking for the information, but you're asking the question to be strategic. For instance, say that I get this position. What are the opportunities for advancement through this company? Because now, like, one, you might really love this company, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to work from this office job to a manager position to some other kind of administrative thing. And that might be your life plan. But on the other side, too, it shows this employer that you are interested in sticking around, that you're interested in advancement, that you're a hard worker, that you're willing to do what it takes to really advance your career through this employer. And those are the kinds of employees that employers take really, really close looks at.
They absolutely do. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to knock the socks off employers when you are strategic in your questions, strategic in your whole process, your whole interview process, because now you're making them think about a few things. And that's where your personality shines through. You don't have to be stoic and all just square about it. Honestly, think about something that you want to ask, an employer.
Right.
Or typically now you have panel interviews. So you may be getting interviewed by potential colleagues that you'll start working with. So that's why I said, what does a typical day look like? What are some of the advancement opportunities? Because if I know that I'm applying for this job and this is it, unless I'm at the end of my career and I just don't want to do anything else, that lets you know right up front whether or not you want to take this job versus ghosting someone. Or quitting. So let your personality shine through as well. Be confident. Go in Take your time. Make sure you prepare yourself. And that's where that confidence will come through. When you take that time to just express that confidence in who you are and being truthful in your interview and confident and authentic.
This idea of really allowing your personality to be present in the interview too, I think is such a great encouragement, because one, that it's going to make you more comfortable. If on top of the resume, on top of the job interview, on top of what's at stake here, you put on yourself the burden of trying to act like someone else.
Yes.
Man, can you imagine the pressure of that? Like, most people are not great actors, and now you have to go and like put on a show. You're going to be freaking out. You're not going to do a good job. They're going to ask you a question, and the real you's going to want to say this, but then the fake you's going to kind of stumble out this answer. It's not going to go well. And so the bringing your personality to the table, one, it's going to make you feel more comfortable. But then two, I think also keep in mind that the job interview is about finding a good fit of an employee and a good fit of an employer.
Yes.
And so if you come in and act like something you're not, you're giving the people in front of you an impression about you, your personality and things like that is not actually true, and that can end up putting you in a position where you're not happy or the employer's not happy. And so you really have to be transparent. We keep saying that in these videos. Be transparent. This is me. You might have to tone it down a little bit depending on your personality, or you might have to nudge because it is a job interview.
Yes.
But you still got to be you.
You.
Yep.
And one thing, I was actually talking to a job seeker the other day, and hey, I'm always learning, Phil. One thing that job seeker said to me is that I found a connection in my interview with the employer. When they discussed how they traveled overseas and they toured some automotive facilities, and that employer said, well, I was in the service in Germany and I did this. So then sometimes you just ride on that. You don't go too far off the grid. But find that connection where that way that employer can see, okay, this is this true, authentic individual. Don't bring your representative. You may do that on a date. Don't do that in your job interview.
Right.
Be you.
Right. This is jumping back a little bit, but when we were talking about preparation, I grew up taking piano lessons. 5 years old, taking piano lessons. Been playing for 30 years now, 32 years now, something like that. But preparation in music means practicing.
Yes.
It doesn't mean showing up at the recital, sitting down, opening up a piece of music, and then playing it for the first time in front of everybody.
Right.
And so something that I think people don't think enough about is, especially if this is a job that you really, really want, the stakes are high. Like, this is your future. This is like, you're going all in. You got to practice.
Yes.
You
act like you want it.
Yeah, you got to practice. Grab your mom, grab your sister, grab your kids, grab a business person, grab strangers, or whoever it is, and say, can I buy you lunch and pretend it's a job interview? Can you sit down and ask me a bunch of questions you think they might ask? Can I give you my pitch? Like, whatever it is, just putting yourself in a similar situation over and over again, so that when you walk into that room and you have to talk to these three people about yourself, you've done it 5-10 times before. This isn't your first crack at it.
Exactly.
So preparation equals practice.
Yes. And this is where you employ resources. If you're a college student, you have your career services center. They're there to help you. That's what they do.
Use them.
Use them. They're going to give you free materials. And guess what? Is free. Unless you want to call Marlene at the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. I'll help you out.
Yeah.
However, college students, go to career services. Job seekers, if you're not in college, you have your local workforce development agency. Woohoo! Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works. Utilize resources. You can go online to YouTube, anything. We are in a technological state of mind. Utilize resources at hand so you can practice over and over again. As crazy as it sounds, get in front of a mirror to see how you look. Practice your posture. Practice how you're going to shake someone's hand. a flimsy handshake is not attractive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not attractive in the social scene, and is definitely not attractive in the business scene. Practice all of that. But preparing, you don't show up unprepared.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are you going to show up day to day once you get that job? What are you going to do?
Truth. I love all of these tips. I love all this continuing workforce development series. We have so many videos coming down the line, just trying to help people, because this is such an important kind of gap of knowledge. We can't have more people finding the jobs that they want, and we can't have more employers finding the employees that they need if these little I's aren't dotted, these little T's aren't crossed. And so please stay tuned to all of our Hey Bay City episodes, the podcast, on the website with the videos and the written stories, because sooner or later there is going to be a nugget that you need that we are going to talk about, because we want to help you find work, find great employees, and really build this community into an even better, even more beautiful community. Marlena, if an employee, a job seeker needs some help finding a job, we do this really cool thing on the heybaycity.com website where you can submit a resume. Tell me a little bit about that.
You can submit your resume on the Hey Bay City website. Once you submit your resume, that's going to give employers in the Bay County area the opportunity to look at how skilled you are and wanting you to come work for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is also another opportunity for you to see what employers are available and who you want to work for. What do you want to do? And we're going to have those nuggets on the website. If you want to request some time, if you don't know where to go, we are going to make sure that resources are available to you, so that way you can get help with that resume or interviewing or whatever else you need. Resources will be available on the Hey Bay City website. So it's going to be easy, functional. Anything that you need, we're going to have it. Right, Phil?
Right. Finding a job shouldn't be hard work.
Not at all.
Boom. Thank you so much for the conversation today, Marlena. We've got at least 3 years worth of more conversations like this, and I'm looking forward to every single day of them. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Thanks, Phil.